Alright guys, welcome back to This Week in Wrestling, where we run down all the top stories from this past week, starting out with the news that CM Punk and Colt Cabana trial has finally reached a conclusion. That's right, this week seen the defamation lawsuit by WWE Doctor Chris Amman against CM Punk and Colt Cabana finally come to a close as the jury on the case decided in favour of Punk and Cabana, noting that Punk's comments were not defamatory and that they had little to no effect on Amman's work. The lawsuit itself seen Amman suing Punk and Cabana for $4 million plus damages, which was reportedly $1 for every one of the 4 million views garnered by the Art of Wrestling podcast that featured Punk's comments. The jury, however, agreed that there was no basis to the plaintiff's claims and cleared Punk and Cabana of all counts after it was revealed that the episode had actually not made a negative impact on Amman's business and that little had actually changed for him since the incident. Speaking in an interview moments after the trial, Punk said that he felt as though a huge weight had been lifted off of his shoulders, something that people in attendance visibly noted after it was reported that Punk broke down and hugged wife AJ Lee when the verdict was announced. The time of the trial also came at a very awkward time for Punk, as this led into his second UFC fight last night in Chicago, where Punk took on Mike Jackson, as inside sources are reporting that WWE actually delayed the trial so that it could take place when it did, as a means of distracting Punk from his upcoming fight, similar to how they held off from sending his release papers until the day of his wedding. Following on from the news of Punk's court case and his second UFC fight, Punk spoke to the media this past Thursday, where he was asked about the future and some of the offers that he's received to return to professional wrestling, including whether he'll be a part of the Bullet Club's All-In event in September. However, his answer wasn't one that wrestling fans would have wanted to hear, as Punk confirmed that he has no interest in making a return to the ring. Punk said, I'm done with professional wrestling. A lot of people like to be mad at me about that and make fun of me when I lost my first fight, and that's fine, you're entitled to your opinion, but you do not owe me and I'm entitled to do what I want to do, and that's what I'm doing. Wrestling is in the rearview mirror. I've been trying for 5 years to put wrestling in the rearview mirror and some people just won't let it go. They, I don't know, want to live my life for me, and I kind of don't understand that, but it doesn't matter what I say. I've said no so many times that people always kind of be like, oh, so there's a chance?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Before we move on from Punk, I can't go without mentioning the result of his fight with Mike Jackson last night at UFC 225, therefore if you want to avoid the result, skip ahead around 1 minute. So last night seen Punk in his second UFC fight in his hometown of Chicago trying to overcome his first fight loss to Mickey Gall. However, unfortunately for Punk, he suffered his second loss as Jackson walked out victorious in a convincing manner. Punk did manage to last all 3 rounds with the fight going to the judges, however the outcome was never in any doubt as Jackson dominated the fight with Punk taking a lot of damage. After the fight, Punk was taken to a local hospital for a facial CT scan on his injuries, leaving Dana White to take questions about Punk's future in the sport, to which Dana White confirmed Punk's UFC career is all but over, stating, no, it should be a wrap, the guy's 39 years old, we gave him 2 shots and he had a lot of heart, and I think he should call it a wrap. As a fan of Punk, it's a shame to see him suffer another devastating loss after putting everything into the UFC. However, now that his dream is over, maybe there's a chance we might see him return to wrestling.
Yeah!
Moving on, and up next we're talking John Cena and Nikki Bella, as it was reported earlier this week that, as has been heavily rumoured, the pair are actually all but back together. This comes after a source close to the pair revealed that they're basically back together and that they never actually stopped talking other than the actual wedding weekend when they took some space. This comes nearly 2 months after the pair ended their engagement back in mid-April, with People.com reporting that they never actually ended their relationship, they just wanted to call off the wedding because something didn't feel right. Following last week's news of Enzo Amore dropping his first rap single, Enzo, who is now going by the name Real One like his Twitter handle, this week released a follow-up track titled Bury Me a G. The full video for the track can be found over on WorldstarHipHop.com's YouTube channel, therefore I'll leave a link to it in the video description. Switching focus to the upcoming WWE UK tournament, and WWE announced this week that legendary British wrestler Johnny Saints will be the official GM for the UK brand. WWE.com wrote, Johnny Saints, one of the most revered competitors in British wrestling history, has been named the general manager of WWE's United Kingdom brand. As first reported by the Daily Star, Saints will lead the charge as WWE grows its UK division, including the back-to-back United Kingdom Championship tournament events being held later this month at London's world-famous Royal Albert Hall. Also announced this week is the date that fans will be able to watch the UK tournament on the WWE Network, as WWE announced that they'll be airing the show on Monday, June 25th and Tuesday, June 26th at 3 PM ET, 8 PM GMT. Up next, we're talking former WWE star Brian Christopher, who's better known as Grandmaster SEXAY, as it was reported on Wednesday by the Shelby County Sheriff's Office of Memphis that Christopher was arrested on Tuesday evening in a Hampton Inn after not being able to pay the $800 bill that he and a friend incurred while staying there. The report states that the pair tried to pay the bill, but the credit card was said to have insufficient funds, therefore the pair were arrested and charged with theft of services. Over the course of the past week, there's been a lot of rumours circulating online that Chris Jericho could be making the jump to Impact Wrestling, with Jericho even visiting the Impact offices and posting a video confirming the news on Twitter. However, rather than signing with Impact, Impact is signing with Jericho, as they just made the list. What list? Well, it's a list of stars appearing at Chris Jericho's Rockin' Wrestling Rage Hour at Sea, which is a 4-day cruise that takes place on October 27th until October 31st and features the likes of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks competing in Ring of Honor's Sea of Honor tournament, 3 live Talk is Jericho podcasts and Fozzy shows, the Words of Jericho, a one-man show, and now it would seem a possible show from Impact Wrestling. Whether or not that means we'll see Jericho actually compete in a match for Impact remains to be seen. However, it'll be interesting to see how this develops, as Jericho is currently working for New Japan. On that note, let's talk about his match at this past Friday's New Japan Pro Wrestling Dominion show, as Jericho faced off against Naito for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, and to the surprise of many, Jericho did what he does best: win Intercontinental Championships. That's right, Jericho is now the current IWGP Intercontinental Champion, meaning it looks as though he may be sticking around a while longer. Before we get to the next story, this week I'm giving away a free 30-day code for Xbox Game Pass, which allows Xbox gamers on Xbox One the ability to download and play a huge variety of both new and classic games, including the recently released Sea of Thieves and zombie survival game State of Decay 2. To be in with the chance of winning the code, all you have to do is like the video, then leave a comment below with your thoughts on any of the stories that I've covered in this week's episode, along with the hashtag Xbox, and then I'll choose the best comment to win the prize. Good luck! As we move on, starting today we'll have Microsoft taken to the stage at E3 to reveal their upcoming lineup for Xbox One, with Sony then also taking the stage on Monday before doors open to the public on June 12th. One question a lot of gamers watching this video will be asking though is whether or not we'll see anything from 2K Sports, and more specifically WWE, as this past week seen 2K reveal LeBron James as their cover athlete for NBA 2K19, with the game also revealed to release 4 days early should you pre-order it. However, when it comes to WWE 2K19, there is still nothing being announced other than that the game is currently in development. As for E3 though, IGN have WWE 2K19 included on their schedule for the show, meaning there is a chance that we could see it featured or some kind of announcement made. However, historically 2K tend to avoid E3 when it comes to WWE, so personally I'm a little skeptical that we'll see it make an appearance. One thing we do know though is that the New Day's XAVIER Woods will be making an appearance at the show. However, he won't be there to promote the game, as he'll be there representing Up Up Down Down, as it's been announced that he'll be facing off in a dream showdown against fellow gamer Kenny Omega. Rather than square off in a virtual ring, however, the pair won't be fighting in WWE 2K, as they'll instead be at the Capcom booth taking on each other in a team battle in Street Fighter V. Finally, this week seen the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels reveal that he'd be open to wrestling one more match, as Sky Sports asked Michaels if he'd considered wrestling again, to which he replied, "I've been retired for 8 years now, and when it got to the 5-year mark, I thought people would start asking me, but they kind of just stopped. I think it's one of those that you would never say never about, and if it was just for a one-off, then it's something that I would take a look at. It would have to be done the right way and just for one match rather than something that ran for longer. It could be possible, but people would have to accept that they won't be getting the showstopper, Mr. WrestleMania, and that I'm 52 years old now." Following this news, in this week's question of the week, I'd like to know who you would want to see Michaels square off against if he wrestled one more match, as I would love to see him take on AJ Styles in a dream match at WrestleMania. However, I'd like to know what you think. You can see Twitter responses to this week's question down below, but make sure to get involved and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Anyway guys, that's where I'm going to leave this week's video, but please do get involved and let me know your thoughts on all this week's stories in the comments, as well I've covered quite a lot of news. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, then please do leave a like, as that really does help out the channel. Subscribe and turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon so that you can be notified whenever a new video is released. All that's left for me to say though is I hope you've enjoyed this video, have yourself an awesome weekend, and I'll catch you later.